under the chair.
Hate that voice. Ladies and gentlemen, do not adjust your screen. Depending on where I'm sitting under, like not a lot of bright light, but ladies and gentlemen, we have a special show. This is JK'z Rewatchable Hour. I am joined by some incredible people. So watch how this really works out. To my left is my wife, Jen. How you doing?
Okay.
And so to my farther left, from my angle over there, is George Muzzy. See, it's over there. How you doing, George?
I'm good. I'm good.
And to the right of my wife is Mr. Eric Evans. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
And down there, looking like the female Hugh Hefner, is Miss Jackie Lynch. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just cold.
Yeah, it is freezing cold. And last but not least, our guest of honor, she is returning. You all know her as Smile Through the Storms. Miss Deb Maxwell, how are you doing?
Hi, guys. I'm doing good. Doing good.
Yay.
Other than the frigid temperatures up here in upstate New York, everybody is well. Everybody is somewhat normal, I'm going to assume. So,
What are you talking about? It was a heat wave today. It was a whole 19 degrees.
Yeah.
and tomorrow's going to be 36. So, yeah. So for all of our viewers and listeners, Deb is she is going to talk about her son and what had happened. And we're just going to basically just hand over the show to Deb. And when one of us has a question or comment, we will just chime in. And with that, Deb, I will just hand the show over to you.
Well, thank you. You know, it's really, it's an honor for me to be able to come yet again tonight and for you to open this up for me to be able to share my story, to introduce my son, David, and his story, and the whole introduction to Smile Through the Storms and how it came about. Many of you may know I'm from upstate New York, single mom, 4 children, all grown. It was tough. It was not an easy task. We were close and whatnot. Though as time went on, my children grew up and had their own families, as life does. Some of us moved away from the area. And then back in 2013, after a very horrific split up with his other half, my youngest son, David, decided to move down to North Carolina to get a clean start. His other half had taken his children and moved to Texas, left him devastated, and he just wanted to leave the area and go someplace new. 6 months after being down in North Carolina, things didn't go the way that he had hoped, and he completed suicide on March 5th, 2014. No warning signs, of course, that I could see or that I could pick up on, though being on a phone call, you know, every other day, a person really can hide an awful lot, you know? So 2014, March 5th, rocked my world, shattered it. The whole, it's a living hell that there doesn't seem to be really an end to. It affected other people in my family.
Hey, Deb.
Yeah.
What year did you say?
2014.
Okay. I thought that's what you said. I wasn't sure. Okay.
Yep. He's been gone. His anniversary coming up just next month. It'll be 12 years that he's been gone. Yep. How it really truly affected my other children. My oldest son went down the road of addiction to meth. He couldn't grieve. He couldn't see life without having his brother with him. They were 9.5 months apart in age. So they were best friends along with being brothers. My oldest daughter, who David lived with down in North Carolina, has absolutely fabricated something for her to be able to deal with his passing, which included annihilating herself and her children away from us. She has removed her and her children all away from our family. And my youngest daughter turned also to street drugs to handle all the pain. So to try to make semblance of some kind to try to help, because there was no place around here for a survivor to go to talk about suicide grief. I had attended a couple different regular, quote unquote, normal grief support groups. And I had a mom at like the third one I went to, and she patted me on my hand and she said, my son was diagnosed with cancer. I took my son home. I'm a retired nurse. I took care of him. I know why my son died. She goes, God love you. You'll never know. And, you know, she wasn't being mean. She was trying so extremely hard to be empathetic and to show me one mom's grief to another, you know. With her words, it hit me that, you know, somebody else has got to be feeling the same exact way that I'm feeling. So December 2014, Smile Through the Storms had their first support. We came together, just in-person group. We were only meeting once a month. It was amazing to have other people come around to where I didn't have to try to find the words to express my feelings, my questions, my thoughts. Why did this happen? How did we not see signs? And it, in a really freakish kind of way, it truly does provide comfort to be with a survivor, because we do get it, you know. So here we are, like I just said to George, I'm going on, well, I've done Smile Through the Storms now for 11 years. And now we do 2 groups a month, both in person and virtually. We reach other survivors going across the country. A couple meetings, I had survivors join in from Egypt, Africa. I had one join in from over in Jerusalem. And those particular meetings, it's like, nope. I had to say, please excuse me, turned off my camera, and I just sobbed because I'm just a mom from upstate New York. But to have other people do that. So yeah, and Smile Through the Storms is getting, I'm not looking for recognition. I'm looking for the information to be shared and to be put out there so other survivors can know it's a life of hell. You're not feeling it wrong, but you're not alone. That there's other people right here that we get it. One of my surviving families, he puts it best. He goes, it's a group that you truly don't want to belong to, but you're thankful all to the big man upstairs that it's here.
Right.
So just now today, what's today's date? February the 9th. A media release was done. Smile Through the Storms is partnering with Care First in Painted Post and NAMI of Steuben. We've all partnered together, and we are starting another support with the 3 of our entities bonding for a once a month group to be held in person up at Care First and Painted Post, which I think is absolutely, it's great. finally some other organizations are seeing that we have to have support groups for us, the survivors. So one of the bigger things that I went to a presentation the other night that a man support group held here in Elmira, which I think is fantastic. It's called Man to Man, and they share all kinds of information on emotional, physical, and mental health for men, which is phenomenal, right? They did suicide prevention, and they were given all the stats and they were sharing all the information. But one of the things that they did not touch on, the people that are at the higher risk for suicide themselves are we, the survivors.
I was going to say that.
And it's amazing that people don't recognize that. So when I have people that have been involved and I've known them for a really, really long time, and then it's like they drop and there's like no communication, I worry about them. You know, we've bonded like family. We're sharing on a same journey, and then all of a sudden there's nothing. I worry. I get concerned because of that stat that a survivor is at higher risk of dying by suicide than any other. So that's one thing. If any of you guys know of somebody who is a survivor that they start withdrawing, please reach out to them and say, "You okay?"
Definitely. Yeah.
At the beginning of the show, I forgot to just say something, and nobody is making any money off this podcast. Nobody. We're not looking for likes and all that. We just try to spread the message. So if you're listening to this message on one of the platforms, whatever, or when you watch the video, if you're just going to leave a dumb comment, please don't. It takes great strength and courage for an individual like Deb to come on and to share her story, to try to change lives, to try to save lives. And I just forgot to say this before I introduce you, Deb. I apologize. But we monitor every comment. So if you're just going to say something dumb or stupid or direct, this is not made up. We're not doing this as a skit. So if you're just going to say something stupid or demeaning, just don't. So just sorry, Deb, I didn't want to interrupt you, but go ahead.
Oh, no. And you know, it's really, really sad that you have to make an announcement like that for people.
Agreed.
And those are some of the individuals that they don't realize how blessed they are if they've never been affected by suicide and suicide loss. They just have no clue how blessed they are. You know, because I tried to get it across to people. I started Smile Through the Storms because of the loss of my son. Bob, an amazing, bright, beautiful spirited 34-year-old young man that had everything to live for, who hid his pain so well that you never picked up on it. I mean, this picture, I don't know if you guys can see this. That was done 4 months before he took his life. So, and it's like, he's smiling. You wouldn't think that he had any problems, a care in the world, any worries that would take him down the road to where he didn't want to live anymore. But one of the bigger things that I have now since learned, that a person who is suicidal, they don't want to die, but they want the pain to end. They don't know how to continue to keep living because of the pain that they're in. And 95% of the time, it's really not physical pain. It's mental and emotional. And they just don't know how to make it stop. They don't know where to turn to. And I'm sorry, but since I've been doing this for 11 years, like I said, our community has to get better. They have to start doing something better. Because, if I call a crisis hotline and the person answers the phone, hold, please, and puts me on hold before I get an opportunity to say anything. And it's like, what? And then when she picks back up, can I take a message, please?
Mm-mm.
Something has to be done, because if that was a person who was in crisis, you already said it. You signed it right then and there.
Yep. Right.
So see, we have to do better.
Yeah. 100%. Yep.
People have asked me, what gives you the right to come out through and say any of this? Well, I look at it this way. I paid the largest price that anybody can pay. Now I'm using my voice for one, hopefully to make him proud, but to try to make it so not one more person feels this way.
Yeah, it's I feel your pain, I really do, and it's very sad that you had to go through that kind of stuff, years ago, and I've been close to that myself. I was very close to that when I was much younger, so I've got a feeling of what it take. It's hard to talk about, but it's I've been there. I'm a kind of a survivor of a suicide, believe it or not. And it is definitely mental. You know, it puts you into a state of mind where you have nowhere to turn, and you feel like everybody's against you, and especially when you don't necessarily have a lot of things, or there's just so many things that are stacked against you. And if you're not, and I'm not by any means putting your son down, but I think people get trapped into a corner. They get so many things that are on top of them, and mentally they can't physically get themselves out of that predicament, and they feel like even the people around them can't do it. So I really do. I think that's where they take the ultimate, your life or whatever it may be, you're just in that mental state of mind. Everything around you doesn't really mean a whole lot. I think it's just the right people, the right circumstance, the timing of it, what saves people's lives. And that's what saved my life.
Right.
And that's why I'm speaking that way. That's my view of it. Some people may not agree with it or understand it, but when you live it, that's how I say it. I was fortunate enough to get in the right place at the right time, being around people that pushed me hard enough to get to the next step, you know what I mean? And get past what put me into that state of mind. And I was strong enough to make it through, and I'll never forget it, so I feel your pain, and I really, it's very sad to hear your story. I've listened to the previous podcast that you've done on our channel, and it's sad, it really is. And I just, my opinion on some of this, and don't take this wrong, there's sometimes you have to look at death in a way where it's a sad thing. But I think, and the reason I look at this way is I've had a lot of death in my family. My parents, I lost my sister at a young age, my nephew. And I don't know about you, but as you go on in life and you think about people that have died, that you've lost, really close to you, eventually you have to put it in your mind and say, you know what, they're in a different place now. There's nothing I can do. I can always think of them. But I think if you don't get past that point, you don't mentally get better. You really don't.
Right.
And I think that puts people into a position in their lives where they eventually take their own lives, because, suicide was a negative in somebody's mind or state of mind. And if you don't get past that into a positive, you know what I mean? And, and not everybody can do that in a way. But what I'm getting at is, like, these committees you're doing is awesome. which I don't know all what you guys talk about. I've never been to a meeting or in a discussion, but are they goals that you have to kind of put, other than thinking about the hard times, do they bring up the good times, moving forward, like goals or things that maybe your son, you think, if he was still here, what do you think he would want to do in a positive way? Not just thinking about the hard times. And that's what I do. I think of my parents. I miss them every day. I miss my sister every day. I miss my nephew every day. But I don't think of that time anymore. I don't even go to the cemetery a lot of times because it puts me into a state that I can't handle it. I go out, enjoy life, and I do things that maybe if they were here, they're there with me. Right. Yep. That's what I think about.
For one, let me say I am so very thankful that you're still here.
Yeah. Well, I am too.
That means a lot to me that you shared all of that here tonight. Yep. And I truly mean that. On a second note, you are so very right, because see, and this is one of the things I do bring up in group when other survivors, when we're all sitting around, I don't look at the day that my son left this world. I look at how he lived his life.
Yep.
I can sit back and people, like you said, people can sit back and say, and I could have very well have done this, sit in my little chair wrapped in a blanket and just said, my son took his life and this is going to be the end. This is what I'm going to do. And I could have done that because it would have been very easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
But, I do smile through the storms in memory of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I do this so other people who have been touched by suicide can come. We don't so much as talk about how others have taken their life, but how others. One of my very first questions that I ask them after they start opening up, introduce me to your angel, because I want to know your angel, not how your angel left this world. How did your angel live in this world?
This world. Perfect. Yep.
Because I don't want people looking at my son's picture and say, oh, well, he died by suicide. No, but he lived 34 years and I have amazing, beautiful memories. And that's what I have now focused on.
Awesome.
I started focusing on that. That's why I named the group Smile Through the Storm.
Okay. Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
So, and it's like 8 years ago, Bub's birthday is the day after Christmas. Okay. So for the first 3 years after his choosing to leave, Christmas and the holidays, no, I'm a single woman. I don't have to do anything. None of my other children were involved with me. Nobody was around here at the house. My dogs, I treat them like Christmas every single day, so they don't know the difference, So yeah, my dogs are spoiled rotten. And then it was like Bub, his name's David, but his nickname's Bub, and I refer to him more as Bub than David, always. And it's almost like Bub came to me and said, Mom, what are you doing? I love Christmas. I love the sparkles. I love the colors. Do something. So I started the toy drive. Smile Through the Storms does a toy drive each and every year. This year it beat the year before. The year before, we did almost $700 worth of toys to 4 different locations that I drop off at.
Nice.
This year, we had 15 boxes out within the community, one as far as Montour Falls, and the other one furthest away was down in Tioga, New York. And all of the toys that were collected, my animals were like, where am I supposed to walk in my home? Because that's how filled my home was with toys.
Wow.
I took donations to the homeless shelter, to Arna Ogden, to Corning Guthrie, Elmira Psychiatric Center, and added a new site, the Transformation Center here in Elmira. Every single spot to where I got to play Santa with my crazy Santa hat, silly elf shirt, with my son's picture right with me. And I say to him, here we go, baby, Merry Christmas.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Every single delivery is made to those places in memory of our angels gone too soon, not just mine.
Right. Awesome.
It's all for them.
Yeah.
You know, I have an amazing friend that she has her own little she shop, and she makes amazing things. This year she came up with, she bought this fantastic piece of machinery, and she did angels in wood, and she engraved any family that wanted an ornament. They gave me their angel's name and their favorite color, and she did the angels, their names across the front of these angels with their favorite color across the hearts, and we hung them on a tree here in Eldridge Park.
Oh, that's great.
This year we did 29 angels. The tree looked absolutely, it was beautiful. And when we hang the ornaments on the tree, this is the 5th year that we've done it. We say the family's angel's name out loud and say, "You are remembered." And then hang it on the tree. We say a little prayer around the tree when we're all done. After the holidays, I take all the angels, all the ornaments off, send them all back out to the families.
Nice.
That's really neat. Wow.
And all of these things that Smile Through the Storm does, there's no charge for the families.
Wow.
We do a healing day retreat. We have the whole day. Nice little breakfast, meditation, speaker who comes in through different, I call them busy finger crafts, because when your fingers are busy, your mouth is able to really start moving pretty good. And then we have lunch. And then after lunch, we do more sharing. And then the closing thing, we take live butterflies outside. And on the envelopes that the butterflies are in, it says, I have them all engraved, always remembered. So when you say your angel's name, I say, Bob, always remembered, open up the envelope, and the butterfly comes out and goes. And it's one of the most healing things, that because you're releasing something live.
Awesome.
Obviously we've done 3 or 4 shows, tried to help spread your message through our platform. And, one of the things that I always just take away from each show is you took a tragedy and you're turning it into something more and beneficial for other people. And, not a lot of people do that. I think it takes great strength and courage for what you're doing. And I just, every time we talk, whether it be, a simple message on Facebook or whatever here, you're always, it's not about you. It's always about the next people or the next person. And just listening to all the counties and all the other charities that you donate stuff to, it just seems like every year, your mission and your voice is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Definitely.
And Jeff, that's just it. I don't want recognition for me. I just want, like I've said, the information to be shared so more people do realize that we're here, that they don't have to go through it alone. To have a surviving mom call and just say, hey, you got a minute so we can chat. I stop everything to sit and talk with this woman, and again, I'm not looking for no pat. I'm looking to give a hug to somebody that I know how she feels.
Mm-hmm. Which is, just really important. I don't want to use the word part, but I just can't think of the word. It's just, you just want to be there for the next person, because I don't want to take away part of your story, but we all know, what you went through, because you have told us several times, and how hard it was for you. And you always said that you just wish that you had somebody that you could confide in, to talk to text or to call or Facebook or meet for a cup of coffee. And that is just really your mission is, if there is a grieving parent or an individual, you want to be able to answer that phone or that message to let them know that somebody's listening, and that they care.
Right.
That's
Because-
huge. Yep.
Anybody want to add, chime in? I think George is. Go ahead, George.
When Eric was talking earlier, I know I've said that there was a time when I thought of it. The reason I didn't, I'd say, was more my ego than anything else. Because I'm like, if I do, then they win. And I need to win. So, yeah, that was, the situation where I was in. It was a thought, and I thought of it many times. But then I said, if I'm not here, he wins. And the two before him win. And I don't want them to win. I want to win. So that was what changed my mind. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, everybody here has heard my story and everything, and what pushed me toward that. And it's just like I said, at another point, at one point I thought of it, and then at another point I was like, if I do, then they win, and I don't want them to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. Jackie, just before we go to commercial, Jackie or Jen, anything? All right. So, Deb, what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to stop recording, and then I'm going to come right back, and we'll just pick up the show right from where we left off.
Okay.